it always amazes me when I look out into the crowd and I see so many people and so many young people as well. But really gave me chills when I looked up at the construction workers on the top of that building out there, and they were all standing at attention. And that's how much we show Ontarians and Canadians across this country how much we appreciate our service people, women and men that serve for our freedoms. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the distinguished guests who are with us today. Representing the federal government, we're joined by the Minister of National Defense, Anita Anand. Minister, thank you. Here on behalf of our great Canadian Forces, Brigadier General J.J. Major, Commander of both the 4th Canadian Division and the Joint Task Force's Central Region Team. Representing the Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, we have Grand Chief Abram Benedict. And representing the provincial government, we have Ontario's Secretary of Cabinet, Michelle D'Emmanuel. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the Royal Canadian Legion's Assistant Executive Director for Ontario, Juanita Kemp. Lastly, and with great honor, I want to welcome Mrs. Diane Knight, a Silver Cross Mother. I consider the opportunity to pay tribute to those who have served in Canada's military to be the greatest privilege of my role as Premier. And I want to thank you all for attending this ceremony. Today is a day on which we dedicate our gratitude to those who have given so much to their fellow Canadians. Remembrance Day is both a time to honor the brave women and men in uniform who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of democracy, and to recognize the military veterans who are still with us in our communities today. Every Ontarian owes a debt to these veterans and their families that we can never fully repay. We must always show our appreciation, not only on Remembrance Day, but on every day that we live our lives as free people. Canadians and Ontarians have always viewed military service as a duty above all others, to stand shoulder to shoulder with our partners in defense of freedom and equality. The illegal invasion being waged by Russia on the people of Ukraine shows us all the dangers that still exist in this world. It is a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance to the cause of freedom and democracy. As we stand here, brave Canadian service people are deployed across the globe, providing vital supports to our friends and allies. Canada, once again, answering the call, as we have throughout our storied history. This year also marks the 150th birthday of Colonel John McCrae, born in Guelph, Ontario in 1872. When tending to soldiers wounded during one of the fiercest fights of World War I, Colonel McCrae looked out and saw red poppies blooming amid the devastation of a battlefield. That experience inspired him to write the immortal poem, In Flanders Fields. And Colonel McCrae's sentiment lives on in the poppies worn by the citizens of countries around the world in honor of their own service members. And so, I ask every citizen of this province to display the red poppy with pride. It's a tribute to the freedom earned for us by efforts and sacrifices of the many brave Canadians throughout our history, both the living and those who have sadly departed. To those heroes, I stand here today to make this solemn pledge. We will never forget. Thank you, and may God bless each and every member of our Canadian Armed Forces.